Hi, this is Mrs. Zhu, and this is our homework tonight. The worksheet says homework 29, but we changed it to 30. There's no directions listed here, so I know it was really confusing. But the directions are to solve each of the inequalities, then graph the solution set on the number line. So let's start with number 1. I'm going to do it here on the side. 4x minus 3 is less than 9. This is a two-step inequality, so I want to isolate x, so I need to undo the 4, and then I also need to undo the minus 3. So I want to do that first. So if it's a minus 3, if I move the 3 over, I want to add 3. So 9 plus 3 is 12. So I still have 4x is less than 12. Let me choose a different color. And then x, I would solve for moving the 4 over. And because it's multiplication here, I would do division. So 12 divided by 4 is x is less than 3. So I'm going to write the answer over here, box it, and then when I graph it, because x is a number less than 3, I'm going to do an open circle. And just to review, this is my young man. He does not have wrinkles under his eyes like the old man does, with a big nose, which is that closed dot. So that's the difference to visually help you remember. And since x is less than 3, all the numbers on this side of the number line are less than 3, so I'm going to shade to the left. Let's try number 3. Number 3, we have, let me do that over here, negative 2 plus 2x greater than negative 16. So first, I want to undo the minus 2, the negative 2, so I'm going to do plus 2, move that over, and I'm going to get negative 16 plus 2. That means I've lost 16, but I gained 2, so I'm just going to be losing a total of 14, so negative 14. So 2x is greater than negative 14. Then I'm going to move the 2 over to the negative 14. Instead of multiplication, I'm going to do division. So negative 14 divided by 2. X is going to be a number greater than negative 7. So that's x greater than negative 7 for number 3. And so when I go to graph it, again, it's a young man, so an open circle at the negative 7, and x is greater, so I shade to the right because those are the numbers greater. That was number 3, the work. Okay, let's skip down to number 6. Number 6 says x divided by 5 minus 1 greater than or equal to negative 2. I want to undo 5, and I want to later undo the negative 1. So actually first I want to undo the negative 1. So I'm going to add 1 with the negative 2. So if I lost 2 but then gain 1, I'm only losing 1, so negative 1. So x is going to divide 5. It's greater than or equal to negative 1. Then I'm going to move the 5 over. So instead of division here, I'm going to do multiplication. So negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. So x is greater than or equal to negative 5. And that's number 6. So at negative 5, I'm going to do a closed dot because it's the old man, and it's equal to, so I want to include negative 5. And all numbers bigger than that are on the right side. And there we go. Let's look at number 8. Number 8 is actually tricky. Number 8, I want you to notice this negative 3 next to the x. Okay? And that's why I say it's tricky, because there's a rule. Negative 3x minus 3 greater than 12. I want to first undo the minus 3, which is plus 3. So 12 plus 3 is 15. I still have negative 3x is greater than 15. Now again, I'm highlighting that negative 3 next to the x because I am multiplying by a negative number. So then I'm going to move that negative 3 over and I'm going to divide. Now remember, there's a rule that in an inequality, when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to reverse the inequality symbol. Okay, so So 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. So x, rather than being, let me highlight that for you, greater than, okay, it's going to switch to less than. So I'm switching that sign. I'm reversing the inequality symbol. Why? Because I divided by a negative 3. Negative 3, that number negative 3. And so x is actually going to be less than negative 5. Remember that worksheet that we did where when we multiplied or divided by a negative number, then the inequalities were false. But once I reversed the inequality sign, the inequalities became true. Well, going back to that, I know it's been a while since we reviewed, going back to that, we have to reverse that inequality symbol. So I'm going to draw an open dot at negative 5, and now x is less than that, so I'm going to shade to the left. Now a good way to check your answer is, we could just pick any number less than negative 5. So maybe I pick negative 10, okay, because that's over here. So if I were to use negative 10 as x, then I would do negative 3 times negative 10, then subtract that with 3 and see if that is greater than 12. And if this statement is true, then we know that we've shaded to the right direction. So let's try that. Negative 3 times negative 10, that's positive 30. 30 minus 3 is 27, and 27 is greater than 12. So that's true. So I know that I'm shading in the right direction. Alright, you try 9 and 10 by yourself, and we'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget that on number 10, you're writing it, inequality, solving an inequality, and then interpreting it. So remember that interpret means to write a sentence, answer for the question. Alrighty, see you tomorrow.